Do you know what happens to your curbside garbage? It's taken to a place like this before hitting the landfill.
When you look into the pit, you're going to see the garbage from around 2 million people. It's disgusting.
Not a pretty sight, but there's a way to cut down on our waste, and that's to recycle.
Could be recycled probably 75 to 80% easily.
Rebecca Jewell is a recycling manager for waste management in San Leandro, California.
My job is to help communicate to the people who bring material to our facility how their processes work, how their material is recovered, and what the recycling process is.
All right, so check this out. They process 400 tons of recycling every day. That's 50,000 pounds an hour. That's a lot of recycling.
They do it here with a state-of-the-art machine that does the sorting for us.
Single stream means for communities who've decided to put all of the recycling into one bin. That would include bottles, cans, newspapers, all your containers, all your junk mail, and leave it to us to sort it.
First, hand sorters pick through everything, looking for no-nos, like these golf clubs.
Sometimes we even see things like pizzas and chickens.
Everything that passes go heads through the recycling maze.
And then it's sorted by size. Next it's sorted by weight. Next it goes under a magnet. Next it goes underneath an optical sorting equipment, which is using lasers and high-speed cameras and air jets to blow material off of the belt into the right direction. It's a pretty intense process.
So after all the magic happens up there, all the aluminum, paper, and cans are brought down here to be bundled up and sent off to be recycled.
Say yeah!
Most communities, if they recycle, can recycle number 1 plastic, number 2 plastic, and newspapers. Number 1 plastic would be like your water bottles and your soda bottles. Number 2 plastic would be like detergent bottles and some shampoo bottles. And the newspaper is exactly what arrives on your doorstep every morning.
And Jewell says recycling all those items is exactly what we should all be doing.
And we have way too many landfills and way too little stuff that has been made out of recycled material. And we hope that you're going to help us solve that.
So you've seen the massive amounts of trash that we make, and how some of it can be recycled. Now, let's head inside for a lesson on the 4 R's.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot.
Janine Sidran runs the iRecycle Education Center for StopWaste.org in Northern California.
Each decision that we make every day has a really large impact on our waste stream.
Sidran says recycling is great, but it's not the only game in town. First, you reduce.
Think twice, 3 times, 4 times about bringing something into your house in the first place. Do you really need it?
Can't live without it? Then plan to live with it for a long time.
If you're stuck with materials, instead of just sending it straight to the landfill, how can you reuse that? Can you be reusing it creatively or practically? How can you keep those materials out of the landfill for as long as possible?
Glass bottles, recycled paper, and bags are all great ways to reuse. Now to the most famous R of them all.
So it's time to recycle now. Let's talk about water bottles.
They're made out of one kind of plastic. Number 1s, number 2s, when you look at the bottom of the bottle and you see this little number made by the plastics industry, really easy to recycle. Great. And then you can turn them into other things. They won't be exactly the same thing they were in their first life. They might be a shoelace or something.
So these shoelaces are made from this?
Yeah, water bottles, soda bottles, all made of the same type of plastics, that number 1 plastic.
Finally, there's the compost bin. That's where you toss food scraps, greasy pizza boxes, and even just paper.
We can compost at home, and we've got things like the biosack, and you can see here the different kinds of materials as they break down over time, nature's way of composting or recycling.
Compost is great for gardens, and it creates methane that's used to produce energy. So before you toss it, remember your 4 R's.
Each step in the process emits carbon dioxide, and the more we buy, the more carbon dioxide is emitted. So just by reducing what we buy, we've saved steps in that process. Everything that we use, everything that we do has an impact on climate change.